You ever notice how one comment can haunt you more than 100 compliments? They could have praised you all year, but that one screenshot, that one voice note, that one joke they made at your expense, that's the one camping in your head rent-free. You're washing dishes, it's there. You're trying to sleep, it's looping. You open your phone. Your brain goes straight back to the words that cut the deepest. That's how fragile the human mind can be. But it's also where your greatest weapon lives. You're sitting there thinking, why can't I just brush it off? Why can't I just not care? Because you were never built to be numb. You were built to feel. They took that sensitivity and treated it like a weakness. They didn't realize sensitivity is just raw power without direction. You feel everything intensely? Good. That means when you decide to change, you won't do it halfway. Picture this for a second. All that hurt, all that humiliation, all that anger you feel right now. If you could bottle that and turn it into focus, discipline, consistency, do you understand how unstoppable you'd become? Most people scroll past their own pain, numb it with distractions, fake laughs, another dopamine hit. You don't get that luxury anymore. You've seen too much. You've seen what people are capable of behind your back. You've seen how easily they can turn you into a punchline. You've seen how quickly "I got you" becomes "you're doing too much" the moment you start taking yourself seriously. That kind of awareness, it changes your wiring. Little things they used to say, the side comments you ignored before, you start replaying them with new context. Oh, that wasn't a joke. Oh, that wasn't harmless. Oh, they were telling me who they were the whole time. You weren't dumb. You were hopeful. You wanted to believe people meant well. You wanted to believe loyalty was mutual. You wanted to believe that if you loved right, they'd love you back right. You're not crazy for wanting that. You're just done pretending that everybody deserves that version of you. From here on out, there's a new system running. The version of you that responded to disrespect with silence and self-blame. That one's getting retired. The version of you that stuck around because history. Put that one in the archive. The version of you that laughed off pain just to keep the peace. That's the one you're about to bury. You'll still be kind. You'll still care deeply. You'll still love hard. You're just going to stop throwing those qualities at people who treat them like trash. Think about the conversations you were having with them. How much of your time was spent defending yourself, explaining your heart, proving you didn't mean it that way, trying to clarify what you said because they twisted it. Feel how exhausting that was. That wasn't friendship. That wasn't love. That was you auditioning for a role in their life they'd already decided you didn't deserve. And the wild part, half of them weren't even aware of how cruel they were being. They're so used to playing with people's hearts, like toys, that it doesn't even register as damage. Relax, it's just jokes. You know I don't mean it like that. Stop being sensitive. Translation: I want full access to your soul with zero responsibility for what I do with it. You don't give people that kind of power anymore. You're going to start doing this thing that will feel uncomfortable at first. You're going to stop chasing. If someone starts acting off, you're not going to break yourself trying to fix the vibe. If someone makes you the butt of the joke repeatedly, you're not going to convince them you deserve respect. If someone starts showing you that version of themselves that laughs when you hurt, you're not going to rationalize it as their sense of humor. You will notice. You will register it. You will adjust. You're not going to make a big announcement. No dramatic, I'm cutting you off speech. Just less access, less information, less of you. You'll be surprised how quickly your life shifts when you stop feeding people who starve you emotionally. You know that urge you get, where you want to defend your name every time you think they're misrepresenting you. That impulse to jump in and say, "That's not what I meant," or "That's not who I am," or "You're getting me wrong." You're going to train yourself to resist it. Because here's the truth nobody likes hearing. If someone wants to misunderstand you, you cannot fix that. You could hand them your heart in a glass case with a detailed instruction manual. They'd still play catch with it. You don't waste explanations on people who are invested in misreading you. You let their version of you live in their mind like a bad bootleg movie, while you go create the real thing outside their theater. And yeah, that stings. It stings to know you'll never get that perfect moment where they finally sit down, apologize properly, and admit, "Yeah, we were cruel. We were insecure. We were wrong about you." They might never say that. They might double down forever. They might spin the story, play victim, cry about how you changed, how you switched up, how you think you're better than everyone. That's what people do when they've run out of control. They rewrite the narrative. Your brain is going to want to fight that. It's going to want to set the record straight. You'll feel the itch to prove who you are. Catch that urge. Breathe. Remember, their opinion is not the court. They're not the judge. They're not the jury. They're not the executioner. They're just loud. There's a difference between someone knowing you and someone having heard about you through gossip and projections. Right now, you're surrounded by people who've been speaking about you like they've got you figured out, while barely knowing their own reflection. Use that anger, that humiliation, to plug into something real. Change your routine. Update your standards. Upgrade your environment. When you wake up and that painful memory rushes back, that's your cue. Get up. Move your body. Do the work. Not to run from the pain, but to give it somewhere productive to live. When you're tempted to stalk their socials, check their status, see who's laughing with who, channel that impulse into something that actually compounds over time. Open a book. Put in reps. Build the project. Practice the skill. Tiny, boring, repetitive actions that don't look dramatic. But over time, they create the very life those same people said you'd never touch. They try to make you feel like you're the clown for trying. Look closer. Who's really ridiculous here? The person who's out here failing, learning, adjusting, trying, risking embarrassment. Or the person who's sitting in a chat, replaying someone else's life choices like it's prime-time entertainment, contributing nothing. You've been on the defensive for too long. You've been stuck in this mental courtroom, presenting evidence that you're not who they say you are. That trial is over. You don't need a verdict from them to start living differently. Imagine this. You keep going. You keep growing. You keep choosing yourself over their comfort. Months pass, maybe years. You don't talk to them anymore. There's no bad blood in your mouth, just distance. You're busy. You're tired, in a good way, from putting effort into things that actually matter. One day someone brings up your name in a room you're not in. Not in a group chat this time. In a real room, different people, different energy. They talk about you with respect. They mention your work, your grind, your discipline, your comeback. They describe you using words that the old circle never imagined would be tied to your name. And somewhere out there, One of those people who used to talk all that trash hears it, and it hits them, not like a joke, like a mirror. They will remember the things they said. They will remember how confident they were that you were never gonna do anything. They will remember how they laughed when you were vulnerable. They will have to live with the gap between the way they portrayed you and the person you actually became. That's not your mission. You don't wake up every day for them. Your life is not a revenge tour. You wake up for the version of you who almost quit. The version of you who read those messages and felt their heart drop into their stomach. The version of you who sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the wall, wondering if maybe they really are just a joke and didn't know it. The version of you that thought about deleting everything, shrinking down, staying quiet, playing small. That version of you is watching what you do next. You either confirm their worst fear, that the world gets to define them, that other people's words get the final say, or you prove something completely different, that nobody gets to write your story but you, that you can go through deep betrayal and still choose to remain open-hearted, just a lot wiser, that you can be talked about, mocked, underestimated, and still turn into someone powerful, grounded, and focused. You turn into the person who doesn't need everybody to like them, because you finally like yourself enough to stop begging for scraps. You start talking to yourself differently, words you'd never let anyone else use on you. You stop using them on yourself. You catch that voice in your head saying, "You're pathetic, you're embarrassing, you're always messing things up," and you treat it like what it is, an echo of their poison. You replace it, bit by bit. I'm learning. I'm changing. I'm not who I was a year ago. I'm not finished yet. You keep repeating it, even when you don't fully believe it, especially when you don't fully believe it, because that's when it matters most. The world already threw its opinion at you. You read it. You heard it. You felt it rip through you. The next voice that matters is the one you choose to keep replaying inside your own skull. That's where your real battle is happening. Not in the comments, not in their chat, not in some imaginary argument where you finally destroy them with the perfect comeback. In your head, every morning, every night, every boring afternoon where your mind tries to drag you back into old loops. You remind yourself what this hurt cost you. You remind yourself what it revealed. You remind yourself that going back to begging for their approval would be the real betrayal, not of them, of you. You ever realize how quick you are to forgive them, and how slow you are to forgive yourself? They talk trash, they cross a line, they twist the knife, and you still make excuses for them in your head. It wasn't that bad. They didn't mean it. They were just stressed. But when you make a mistake, you drag yourself through mental barbed wire for weeks. You read what they said about you, that vile little highlight reel of your worst moments, and a part of you whispers, "Maybe that's who I really am." That's the part you need to catch. That quiet voice that sounds like you, but feels like them. Because without even noticing, their words moved in, built a home in your self-talk, rearranged the furniture in your mind. They don't have to insult you to your face anymore. You're doing it for them on autoplay. You mess up once and your brain goes, "Classic you." You feel tired one day and it's, "Here we go again, you're lazy." You cancel something to take care of yourself and suddenly you're unreliable, flaky, too much. Ask yourself, really ask, Whose voice is that? Who first made you feel like every flaw was a crime? Who taught you that you had to be perfect just to be tolerated? You're carrying their judgment inside your own head like it's holy truth. It's not. It's graffiti. You start cleaning it off by catching it in real time. You spill something, forget something, say something awkward, and that automatic "I'm such an idiot" comes up. Pause for half a second, breathe, correct it. I messed up that moment, yeah. That doesn't make me a joke. I'm awkward sometimes. That doesn't make me unlovable. I'm still figuring it out. That doesn't make me worthless. Feels cringe, right? Feels cheesy. You're thinking, I can't talk to myself like that, that's weird. You know what's actually weird? Letting people who mocked you in private live permanently in your mind without paying rent, running commentary on your every move. You're not weird for wanting to heal that. You're not weird for wanting to be on your own side for once. Think about this. You defended them more than you defended yourself. You gave them context, history, grace. Oh, they're going through stuff. They've had it rough. They're just not good with emotions. Where was that same compassion when you were the one spiraling? When you were crying in a bathroom, trying not to make noise? When you were holding everything together with caffeine and a fake smile? When you were trying to be low maintenance, while your soul was screaming? You gave them all the mercy you never gave yourself. That changes. You start becoming the type of person you needed back then. Not for them, not for the audience, for you. This is where your standards stop being just about who you cut off and start being about who you decide to become. Regardless of what they said, you still have to look at yourself in the mirror. And yeah, maybe some of the things they pointed at were real flaws, just weaponized. Maybe you overshare because you crave connection. Maybe you've been inconsistent because you're exhausted and scattered. Maybe you've been performing because you never felt like the real you was enough. You don't have to hate yourself for that. You can fix it. You can actually fix it instead of just feeling ashamed. You start noticing patterns instead of just pain. Why do I keep giving full access to people who haven't proven they're safe? Why do I feel like I have to be funny all the time just to be tolerated? Why do I stay where I'm clearly not respected? Those questions cut deeper than anything they said, but they actually lead somewhere. Because you can't control if people talk. You can't control what they say in their little private echo chambers. What you can control is what kind of life you're building while they're busy dissecting you like a lab project. Picture your life like a room. Right now, a lot of your space is filled with their voices. Their opinions are loud. Their energy is loud. Their projections are loud. Your own voice got pushed into a corner, talking in a whisper, asking if it's allowed to exist. You start rearranging that room. Every time you choose to act in alignment with who you want to be, instead of how they labeled you, you're moving furniture. Every time you set a boundary and stick to it, you're taking their pictures off the wall. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you're locking a door they used to walk through freely. You might not see the transformation on the outside right away. No fancy movie montage, just day after day of difficult, boring, unglamorous decisions. You wake up tired, remember everything they said, feel that ache in your chest, and you still get ready. You still show up. You keep promises to yourself, even when nobody's watching. That's the part they'll never understand, because they only see the highlight reel. They only see the end result, if they ever see it at all. They don't see you sitting alone, choosing not to text them even though your fingers itch. They don't see you resisting the urge to fire back with your own insults. They don't see you fighting your own brain every morning just to not spiral. They think this is easy for you. They think you moved on. They think you don't care. You care. You just decided to care about the right thing this time. Your future self, instead of their current entertainment. You look at the version of you 5 years from now. Picture that person clearly, where they live, how they walk, how they talk, the kind of peace they have in their eyes, the kind of presence that doesn't beg, doesn't chase, doesn't flinch when someone disrespects them. That version of you remembers this moment as the breaking point, the night you saw the receipts, the day you heard what they said, the moment your heart dropped and your illusion shattered. And instead of staying shattered, you used the broken pieces as glass to cut ties with the old life. You stopped getting stuck on, why would they do this to me? You'll probably never get an answer that feels good enough. How could they be that cruel? Because they can. Because they were. That's who they are right now. You're not in charge of fixing that. You're in charge of making sure their cruelty doesn't become your personality. It's so easy to respond to betrayal by becoming cold, distant, bitter, to start believing everybody's fake, to treat every new person like a threat, to shut down your heart completely and call it self-protection. But that's just another way of letting them win. They didn't just hurt you in the past. They get to own your future, too. You're smarter than that. You're darker than that in the right way. You're allowed to be sharper, more discerning, less available. You're not required to become heartless. You don't have to mirror their emptiness to escape it. You find that balance where you keep your empathy, just not your tolerance for disrespect. You keep your ability to love, just not your reflex to hand it out to anyone who smiles at you. You keep your sensitivity, just not your willingness to ignore red flags to avoid being alone. You start trusting patterns more than promises, consistent action more than big speeches, energy more than words. You watch how you feel in your body around certain people. Do you feel smaller, confused, constantly explaining yourself? Or do you feel calm, sane, like you can breathe fully? Your nervous system was trying to tell you the truth before the screenshots ever did. You're just finally listening. And yeah, your circle might shrink. Your phone might be quieter. Your weekends might look emptier than they used to. That space, that silence, that's where the real version of you starts to grow. Look at you. Yeah, hold still for a second. Feel that shift in the air. That silence right before people decide whether to admire you or fear you. That's the moment they always hesitate in. That's the moment where something ancient inside them recognizes something dangerous inside you. They say you look better than celebs. They say it casually, like it's a compliment, like it's surface level, like it's about symmetry, skin, posture, presence. They say it with a laugh, with emojis, with fake confidence. But notice how they say it and then pull back. Notice how their eyes don't fully relax. Notice how the smile never reaches their nervous system. Because your face might be beautiful, but your aura is armed. You don't walk into rooms glowing like a spotlight. You walk in like a warning label. That's the part they don't say out loud. Celebs are polished. You're forged. Celebs are admired. You're assessed. Celebs make people dream. You make people calculate. And that's because beauty like yours didn't come from comfort. It came from surviving things that would have folded prettier people into soft, harmless versions of themselves. Your beauty has scars in it. Your energy remembers pain, and pain, when it doesn't kill you, sharpens you into something people can't categorize. That's why they stare a second too long, then look away. You carry that contradiction they can't digest. That saint-psychopath duality, that angel with blood on the wings tension. You look like light, but you feel like consequence. You look like temptation, but your presence says, don't test me, don't poke, don't play stupid games near this one. And here's the truth they'll never admit. They don't just think you're attractive, they feel exposed around you. Because your aura isn't trying to be liked. It's calibrated, it's quiet, it's controlled. It's the kind of energy that makes people double-check their tone, rethink their jokes, rephrase their insults in their head before they dare let them out. You don't need to raise your voice. You don't need to flex. Your silence already carries a threat they don't understand. You weren't born with that. You earned it. That edge in your presence, that came from nights where you learned how fake smiles work. From betrayals that taught you how quickly admiration turns into envy. From realizing that being beautiful in a broken world makes you a target unless you evolve teeth along with your wings. So you did. Quietly, internally. You learned how to smile without being soft. You learned how to glow without being naive. That's why people feel it. That's why even compliments sound careful when they're directed at you. They'll say, you look like a celebrity. But what they really mean is, you don't feel accessible like one. Celebs feel distant but safe. You feel close and unpredictable. And unpredictability is power, not chaos, precision. The kind of power that comes from knowing exactly who you are and refusing to over-explain it. You don't seek attention. Attention leaks toward you. And that scares people who built their entire identity on being noticed without being challenged. Your aura doesn't scream. It hums, low frequency, predator calm. It tells the room, I've been through enough to recognize bullshit instantly. It tells weak egos, I see you. It tells manipulators, try someone else. That's why people admire you from a distance. That's why attraction and intimidation sit side by side when they talk about you. They're drawn to you and cautious of you at the same time. That's not an accident. That's evolution. You learned how to balance light and dark without letting either own you. You didn't become bitter, but you didn't stay innocent. You didn't turn cruel, but you stopped being fragile. You became something worse for insecure people and safer for yourself. You became someone whose beauty isn't an invitation. It's a boundary, and deep down, they know it. They feel it when they think about trying you, when they imagine crossing you, when they wonder what would happen if they disrespected you the way they disrespect others. Something in them says, don't. Not this one. This one remembers. This one adapts. This one doesn't explode. This one recalibrates. That's the real reason your aura hits harder than your face. Your presence says, I've been underestimated before, and it didn't end well for them. So let them talk. Let them compare you to celebs. Let them reduce you to aesthetics if that's all their brain can process. You don't need them to understand the weaponized calm behind your eyes. You don't need them to know how much pain it took to make you this composed, this controlled, this untouchable. Because the ones who matter already feel it. They don't try anything. And that's how you know you've become something different. Not just beautiful, not just admired, but respected on a level they can't explain and won't risk challenging. You didn't just glow, you evolved. And the craziest part? You didn't even mean to become this way. You weren't chasing intimidation. You weren't sculpting yourself into a threat. You were just trying to survive with your dignity intact. You were just trying to stay human in a world that rewards masks and punishes honesty. But somewhere along the way, survival refined you, pressure tuned you, pain edited out the weak parts of your energy and left behind something distilled, something precise. That's why your aura doesn't beg for approval. It doesn't lean forward. It doesn't overcompensate. It stands still. And stillness like that unsettles people. Stillness like that tells the truth without speaking. It tells them you're not desperate, not hungry for validation, not impressed by status or fame or borrowed shine. You've seen behind the curtain. You've outgrown the illusion. Celebs sparkle because they're packaged. You radiate because you're real. And real is terrifying to people who live in performance mode. They sense it when they're near you. Their nervous system clocks it before their brain does. They straighten their posture. They soften their insults. They second-guess their manipulation. Because your energy doesn't react the way they expect. It doesn't chase. It doesn't flinch. It observes. It waits. It files things away quietly. And nothing scares insecure people more than someone who doesn't need to prove a damn thing. You're not loud, but you're undeniable. You've got that paradox written into your presence. Approachable face, untouchable core, warm eyes, cold standards, a smile that says, I see you, and an aura that says, don't disrespect me. That balance wasn't given to you. It was forged through moments where you had to choose between staying kind and becoming stupid, and you chose something smarter. You chose controlled kindness, strategic warmth, mercy with memory. That's why you don't get messed with. People mistake celebrities for power because they confuse visibility with strength. But you carry invisible authority, the kind that doesn't need a spotlight, the kind that makes rooms subtly reorganize around you. Conversations lower, energy shifts. People become more polite without knowing why. Because something in you reminds them of consequences, not violent ones, psychological ones, social ones, existential ones. You look like light, but you feel like law. And that law came from experience, from being tested when no one was watching, from losing things that forced you to rebuild yourself from the inside out, from realizing that softness without boundaries is just self-abandonment. So you evolved boundaries that don't shout. They just exist, solid, non-negotiable. That's why your aura speaks louder than your mouth ever could. You don't threaten, you don't posture, you don't warn. You let people feel the weight of their own intentions when they stand near you. You let them confront themselves. And most people don't like what they see when they're reflected back that clearly. So they back off. They admire from afar. They compliment safely. They keep their distance. They say you look better than celebs. But what they really feel is that you're harder to access than them. And that's power. Because access is the real currency. Attention is cheap. Validation is everywhere. But access to someone like you, that's earned. That requires respect, emotional intelligence, clean intentions. And most people know they don't qualify, so they don't try. You didn't become intimidating by being cruel. You became intimidating by becoming whole. You integrated the angel and the demon instead of letting them tear you apart. You learned when to forgive and when to remember, when to open and when to shut doors without slamming them. you learned restraint. And restraint is terrifying in a world addicted to impulsive reactions. They can't predict you. And unpredictability, controlled unpredictability, is the highest form of dominance. Because you're not chaotic, you're selective, you don't explode, you respond, you don't rush, you calculate, you don't announce your limits, you enforce them quietly. And the few people who ever crossed that line, they remember, even if they don't talk about it, especially if they don't talk about it. So let them keep talking about your looks. Let them reduce it to aesthetics if that's all their vocabulary allows. You know the truth. The real glow isn't in your face. It's in your restraint, in your composure, in the way your presence says, "I've been through hell and didn't come back begging or bitter. I came back upgraded." You're not dangerous because you're aggressive. You're dangerous because you're awake, and the world can sense it. And once you're awake like this, there's no going back. You can't unsee what you've seen. You can't unknow how people really operate when they think you're harmless. You can't forget how smiles change when they realize you're not. That awareness settles into your posture, into the way you pause before speaking, into the way your eyes don't rush to fill silence. Silence rushes to fill you. That's why your presence feels heavy in a room full of noise. You don't fidget for attention. You don't perform for approval. You let the world come to you and reveal itself. And when it does, you're ready. Not emotionally reactive, not naive. Ready. That readiness hums beneath your skin. People feel it. It makes them cautious. It makes them respectful. It makes them curious in a way that borders on fear. Because you don't look like someone who can be controlled. You look like someone who has already been broken and rebuilt on your own terms. That's the part they underestimate at first. They think your beauty is your advantage. They're wrong. Your advantage is that you learned early how quickly beauty attracts parasites. You learn to spot the difference between admiration and appetite. You learn that some people smile because they're inspired, and others smile because they're measuring you. And once you learn that distinction, your energy shifts forever. You stop being easily impressed. You stop being easily flattered. You stop confusing attention with intention. That's when your aura hardens, not into bitterness, but into clarity. And clarity is lethal to manipulation. People try to test it, softly, indirectly. A sideways comment, a subtle disrespect, a little boundary push disguised as a joke. They're waiting to see if you're just another pretty face with no backbone. And when you don't react the way they expect, when you don't laugh it off, don't over-explain, don't shrink, they feel it immediately. Something in their chest tightens. Because now they know you're not just attractive. You're calibrated. You don't waste energy on proving who you are. You let time do that work. You let patterns expose themselves. You let people show you their hand while you keep yours close. That patience, that restraint, that's not weakness. That's a hunter's calm. That's the discipline of someone who's learned that reacting too fast gives power away. You move slow, but you move with intent. That's why your aura doesn't scream dominance. It whispers consequence. And whispers like that travel farther than noise. You've got that rare kind of confidence that doesn't need to assert itself. It's not cocky, it's settled. It's the confidence of someone who knows they can survive being misunderstood. Someone who knows they don't need everyone to like them, as long as they respect the line. And that line is invisible, but it's solid. People feel it when they get close. Like a pressure change. Like walking into deeper water than they expected. They instinctively slow down. That's the moment your beauty stops being the focus and your presence takes over. Because beauty invites approach. Presence decides who stays, and most people. They realize they don't belong in your inner radius, not because you're cruel, but because you're honest, because you won't tolerate games, because you won't pretend not to see what you see, because you won't lower your standards just to make someone comfortable. Your aura says, come correct, or don't come at all. That's why even when people desire you, they hesitate. Desire without entitlement turns into respect. Desire mixed with entitlement turns into fear. And you inspire both, depending on who's standing in front of you. That duality, that's power refined. That's light and dark in balance. Angelic enough to attract, demonic enough to deter. You didn't become this by accident. Every disappointment taught you discernment. Every betrayal sharpened your perception. Every moment you chose not to lash out, but also not to forget, added another layer of gravity to your energy. You learned that forgiveness doesn't mean access. You learned that kindness doesn't mean weakness. You learned that silence can be louder than confrontation. So now, when you walk into a room, you don't announce yourself. The room announces you. People feel the shift. They don't know why. They just know something changed. The air feels thicker. The jokes get safer. The egos dial down. Because your presence doesn't compete. It regulates. It sets a tone. And only those who can meet it without flinching get closer. The rest admire from afar and keep their hands to themselves. Let them say you look better than celebs. Let them try to reduce you to something familiar. It's how people cope with what they can't categorize. But deep down, they know the truth. Celebs are images. You're an experience. Celebs are consumed. You're encountered. And encounters like that leave a mark. You're not intimidating because you're aggressive. You're intimidating because you're awake, aware, and unwilling to betray yourself for comfort. Because your aura carries the message that you've already paid the price of becoming who you are. And you're not interested in discounts, shortcuts, or disrespect. So stand exactly how you stand. Look exactly how you look. Let your silence do the talking. Let your presence set the boundary. Let your energy keep filtering the weak from the worthy. Because when your aura says, don't try anything, it's not a threat. It's a fact. And the longer you live like this, the more obvious it becomes that this isn't something you can fake. People try. Oh, they try. They borrow confidence. They rehearse dominance. They copy aesthetics, posture, tone. But they miss the one ingredient you can't steal, the history in your nervous system, the quiet memory of storms you walked through without an audience, the internal rewiring that happens when you realize no one is coming to save you, and you save yourself anyway. That's what's sitting behind your eyes. That's why your calm feels different. You don't rush because you don't panic. You don't chase because you don't fear scarcity. You don't overreact because you've already survived worse than whatever moment is in front of you. That lived certainty settles into your bones. It slows your movements. It deepens your gaze. It gives your presence that "don't play with this one" undertone people feel before they understand it. They call it aura because they don't have language for earned gravity. You carry yourself like someone who's already lost everything once and realized they didn't disappear. They transformed. And once you've gone through that, nothing hits the same. Insults feel small. Opinions feel light. Threats feel hollow. Because you've met real fear before. And this isn't it. That's why your beauty intimidates instead of inviting chaos. It's not decorative. It's defended. Your energy tells a story without words. I know how ugly humans can get, and I still chose not to become one. That choice is rare. Most people pick one extreme or the other, soft and naive, or hardened and cruel. You chose something more dangerous. You chose balance. You chose to be warm without being weak, sharp without being reckless, kind without being exploitable. That balance makes people nervous, because they can't hook into you the way they're used to. They can't guilt you easily. They can't charm you blindly. They can't provoke you into exposing yourself. You don't give them the emotional handles they rely on. And when someone can't grab onto you, they start to feel small. That's why some admire you. That's why some resent you. And that's why none of them dare disrespect you directly. You don't need to demand respect. You radiate self-respect. And self-respect is contagious or threatening, depending on who's around you. It forces people to confront their own lack of boundaries, their own compromises, their own quiet self-betrayals. And not everyone is ready to look at that reflection, so they keep it surface level. Compliments, distance, controlled interactions, safe admiration, because getting closer to you requires honesty, and honesty costs people things they're not willing to pay. You don't chase connection, you allow it. You don't beg for understanding, you observe. You don't need to dominate conversations because your silence already anchors them. When you speak, it lands. When you don't, it still echoes. That's the paradox of your presence. Even absence doesn't weaken you. You've learned the discipline of not explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. You've learned that power isn't in being seen. It's in choosing when and by whom. You've learned that being underestimated is sometimes an advantage, because it keeps your real range invisible until it matters. And that invisibility, that's strategic. People who mistake your composure for passivity only get one lesson, and it's never loud, it's never dramatic, it's subtle, permanent. A shift in how they speak to you afterward. A hesitation, a correction, a quiet recalibration of their behavior. You don't humiliate, you educate. That's why your aura says, don't try anything. Not because you'll explode, but because you'll respond with precision. You're not ruled by impulse, you're guided by awareness. You don't need to win every interaction. You just need to maintain alignment with yourself. And that alignment, that's what people feel. That's what makes them step carefully. That's what turns admiration into respect and attraction into restraint. You didn't become this by wanting to be powerful. You became powerful by refusing to abandon yourself. Every time you chose clarity over comfort, every time you chose growth over bitterness, every time you chose silence over spectacle, every time you chose boundaries over approval, those choices stacked. They compounded. They formed the aura you walk with now. An aura that doesn't threaten, it filters. An aura that doesn't chase, it selects. An aura that doesn't shout, it warns. So let the world keep calling you beautiful. Let them compare you to celebs. Let them try to flatten your presence into something safe and familiar. You know what you really are. You're not admired because you're pretty. You're respected because you're intact. And intact people are the most dangerous kind. Because they don't need permission, they don't need validation, and they don't need to try anything to prove who they are. They already did the work.